Hello, welcome back to another video. Today we are talking about all of the books March, April, and May. And yes, if you're thinking this is halfway through June, why is she posting this? Mind your business, please, and thank you. But yeah, I'm going to be talking about all the books I read in those 3 months. So like a reading wrap up, like what I read in those months, whatever you want to call it. We're doing that. So overview. I read 25 books total. Yay. In March, I read 6. In April, I read 10. And then in May, I read 9. So there's the 25. And we're going to be going through them. I'm not going to be touching on like every single one. I will like say every single one, but I really don't want to like go into everyone / I don't even remember some of them. So some of them are just going to be told their names. And if you want me to talk about it, comment it, and then I'll talk about it later. Okay, first book we read, this is obviously going to be March 1st, and then we'll talk about the other ones. But first book I read was Autumn Nights by Willow Aster. And I finished this March 3rd, and I gave it 4 stars. I did really like this book. It's a sports romance, like kind of technically. I always say that because like the sports don't really have like anything to do with it, but he is an athlete. He's an NFL player, and they meet at her sister's wedding, which is actually the next book I read, and also technically the first book in this like kind of duet series. But I didn't know that, so I read it after. But yeah, and she's just kind of like doesn't like just doesn't isn't really like believing the like good boy act that he has, and then they start growing closer, and obviously things progress from that. But as I said, the next book was the first book technically by in that duet series, which is Summertime, also by Willow Aster. I gave this one a 3.5, and I finished this one March 5th. Sorry, my computer keeps giving me technical difficulties today. I don't know why, and it's really being annoying. So, sorry about that. But Summertime, I gave it a 3.5. I don't remember a lot about this book, honestly. Actually, that's kind of a lie. I know her dad is like a famous director, and they like aren't really close anymore, and like she goes out to spend the summer with him, and then he's just like being kind of a bad dad. And then she thinks she's just like going for vacation, and then he like ropes her into being like basically the PA on set, which if you don't know, that is like the worst job on a set. Like you're just getting coffees and like doing stuff like that. So it's still a cool experience, but like it's not at all what she wanted. She literally just wanted to spend time with her dad. And then she kind of sparks this relationship with like a friendship relationship with the like main star that's like rising on the set. And he's just like fun, flirty, kind of like player guy. And then but that's just like a friendship. And then she starts a romantic relationship with her dad's like right-hand man, who's like his assistant director, who is like a much more like mature, I don't know, like whatever. And I remember so it's kind of a love triangle, but not really, because like the other guy's just a friend. But I didn't love that. And then, not really even a spoiler alert, but they have a plane crash, and it was like so unnecessary to me. It was so weird, but you know, that happens, and that's stuck in my brain, so there's that. Next we have Unforgettable by Willow Aster, and this is part of the Landmark Mountain series. It's the first one. I finished it March 7th, and I gave it 2 stars. I remember this one because I was kind of like in the mood. Like I liked the Autumn Nights or whatever better than Summertime, but I still liked both of them, so I was like, oh, let's give it another chance. And then also I thought this was going to be about another character in the book. I don't remember at the current time who that character was, but it didn't end up being about him, so it was stupid anyways. But this book, I hated it. I did not enjoy it at all. It's like about this like rich dude who basically comes in, and he starts he like buys a winter ski lodge hotel thing, and then it's following the girl who's like the owner's daughter, and she's all upset that it was bought, so she like instantly hates him, even though he's like a really nice guy and like trying to do right by them, and like keeping as many jobs as he can, and like really trying to get like the local people involved and like all this stuff, and like literally saved them because they were gonna go, like they did not have the money to keep the lodge alive. But she hates him, and then it's just like an awkward story. And actually, now I'm talking, I do remember he's like brothers with the dude from Autumn Nights, I'm pretty sure, or like sisters possibly. Somehow they're related to them, and they were in it for a second, and it was fine, but I just really did not like this book. Next we have, oh, my screen just went away. Let me find this. Oh my gosh, so fun. Why did that go away? Okay. It was King of Wrath, the first in the King of Sin series by Anna Huang. I finished this March 11th and I gave it 3.75 stars. I really liked this book series. I ended up reading the other two in it, and I'll get to that in a second. But this one was really good. I think, honestly, well, I don't want to say it's my favorite because I really like the third one too, but I really like this one. Basically, it's like, it's not mafia, but it's like mafia-esque. At least I feel like this one kind of is. Gives like similar vibes to me. I don't know why, but basically they're like all like cutthroat businessmen, billionaires, if you will. And Dante, the main character, his brother like does some shady stuff, and basically he gets blackmailed into marrying this girl Vivian by Vivian's father, and he's really upset about it, and Dante's like has this whole scheme and plan to like get back at Vivian's dad, but then him and Vivian start like kind of hitting it off, and he's like, oh wait, what do I do? And so it's kind of like a dilemma of that, and it's a marriage of convenience and all of that. So honestly, really liked it, pretty good. The next book is the second book in the series, King of Pride. I gave this one 2.25 stars. Yeah, I did not really like this one. This one follows like the friend of Vivian from the first book, and she is like this poor girl who's a bartender, but really she's a writer, but she hasn't never finished her book, and it's like this whole thing. And then she gets like involved with this guy Kai, who's also a billionaire, and they like start hitting it off, but it's like technically not allowed because she like works at this club that he's a member of, and it's like, I guess, forbidden and all of this stuff. And it just was boring, honestly. I didn't really like either of our main characters. It just didn't have the like intensity I guess I wanted, so I was just kind of bored through most of it. And then the last book of March, woo, was King of Greed. Oh, I didn't say when I read that book. King of Pride, the one before this, I read on March, or finished on March 13th. Okay. King of Greed is the third book in the King of Sin series. I gave it a 3.75 and I finished it March 29th. So right under the radar. I loved this book. I love this book. I was reading it technically in Europe, so that might be part of it because I was reading it on Pretty Trained and stuff, but I think I would still, if I reread this, I would stand by that. It is a second chance romance, which historically I have not liked very much, but she did it so well, like literally so well. I was so invested. It was like a married couple whose like marriage was falling apart because he was a workaholic, and she just was kind of done with it. She'd given him 10 years and like a lot of chances and all of this stuff, and like warned him, and then he forgets their anniversary dinner, and she just like can't anymore and literally ends the marriage. Like she separates from him, and that's kind of like his wake-up call. So then we get all of this beautiful like reconnection and him trying to like get her to fall in love with him again, and it was so beautiful and so just like, I don't know, I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. This is like the first second chance romance I've like really super loved and really recommend. So now we are in April. And I've talked a little about this first book, this first series, I guess I should say, but it's The Predator, which is Dark Verse number 1 by runyx, and I gave this 3 stars, and I finished it April 3rd. I'm not going to talk too much about these because, like I said, I made a video, which you can go watch now if you want. It's a great video. I did like these books because there's The Predator. Wait, let me find all of these in here. The Reaper is second. I gave that 3.75. I finished that April 4th. The Emperor is the third. I gave that 4 stars, and I finished that April 5th. The Finisher I read April 7th, and I gave it 3.75 stars. And then The Annihilator I finished. All these I finished April 8th, and I gave it 1 star. I hated that one. It was so bad. One of the worst books I've read ever, and definitely this year. After like those dark romances, like they're mafia romances technically, I wanted something lighter in a sports romance, so I moved to Unwritten Rules, which is the first in the Unwritten Rules series by Katie Casey. I gave it 3 stars and I finished it April 16th. This one is a gay love story between, oh my gosh, I do not remember their names. Never mind. I'm not going to say who it's between, but it's between two catchers, and it's kind of like it's like a flashback because it's like before and then like during current time, and I don't really give anything away, so it's good. I liked it. It wasn't like groundbreaking, but it was still fun and like an easy read to get through for sure. My other ones are that for April. Oh my god, what did I just say? Okay. The other books that I read in April are all part of a series that I also did a video on, so April was very heavy for videos. um, so I'm not, again, going to talk really much about it, but that is the Brentwood Boys series. Go watch the video. It's really good. I promise you. But this is a baseball romance series. So the first one's The Locker Room. These are all by Meghan Quinn as well. I finished The Locker Room on April 17th. And then we moved on to The Dugout, which I gave 2.5 stars and finished April 18th. And then The Lineup, I gave 2 stars and finished April 19th. Oh, and The Trade, which is the fourth book, I gave 2 stars and I finished April 24th. We are on to May now, and we started May continuing that series. So still in the Brentwood Boys series, we're on book 5 now. We have The Change Up, which I gave 2 stars and I finished May 1st. We then have The Setup, which I gave 3.25 stars and I finished May 2nd. Then we have The Strikeout, which I gave 2 stars and I finished May 3rd. I think, is that the last one? No. And then we have The Perfect Catch, which I gave 2 stars May 8th. Next book I read was Pretty Reckless, and it is the first in the All Saints High series, and it's by L.J. Shen. I did end up liking this book a lot. I gave it 3 stars, which doesn't really reflect that, but I remember reading it. I really liked it, but clearly there was some reason I only gave it 3, but okay. I finished that May 17th, and it's just kind of like a... The vibe is like bad boy and like crazy plot twists, kind of, I think, is the vibe that I'm gonna describe it as. And then 2, we have Broken Night, which I gave 1.5 stars, and I finished it May 19th. Yes, I remember. I hated the book. It was infuriating. Made me so upset. If you go back to my vlogs, like the one I did every day until like my birthday, I talk about this book a lot because I was very annoyed and it was very frustrating to read. And then the next one was Angry God, which also got a 1.5. I finished that May 23rd. Also infuriating to read, really annoying. The boys were just so annoying. I just couldn't get past them. They were little boys that were so insecure and just like the stupidest reasonings for things, and like just I couldn't get past them. Like I didn't like them at all, so then I didn't want to root for them at all, and there was like no redeeming qualities in them to me. I did not like them. But then we finished off that series with Damaged Goods, the 4th book, and this one got better. We're back to 3 stars, and I finished this May 30th. I did not realize that this was a series when I first started reading it, so it was like they already had gone through all of the parents, and like they were a whole friend group in a series, and then these were all their kids, which I did realize pretty soon because they kept talking about the parents, which is always a pretty good sign where like the audience would care about the parents more than normal. Like usually they don't really talk about the parents at all. So I kind of realized that, but then I was like, well, I'm already in the middle of this series. And then I've thought about going back. I might someday. One of them I want to read. It's a high school teacher-student romance, if you can even call that a romance. I call that a legal activity. I call that a crime. But okay, yeah, so I really don't want to read that. But then I'm like, maybe I could just read the other ones. But then I'm like, ugh, I really just like don't want to participate in that. So I don't know, maybe someday I'll get into that. But at the current moment, I'm just like not really on that vibe of doing that series. And if you didn't know, May is my birthday, May 31st to be exact, the last day. So we were on a trip and doing stuff during then. So I have honestly not really read much during June, but that's okay, you know, things fluctuate. How much I read very much fluctuates. I did read, though, a book technically on my birthday, but then I finished it the first because I always do it on like the finish date, so that's how Storygraph does it. So it will be on the June, but yeah, thank you for coming along and doing all this. I'm sorry if the video is weird from all my technical difficulties. I really hope it's not. Yeah, thank you for coming along. Hopefully the video was not super buggy and weird, but I had a lot of fun filming it once I got the technical difficulties out of the way, but it makes me happier. So hopefully this gives you some books that you can look into and maybe read. If you do, let me know. That would be amazing. I would love to hear that. If not, that's cool too. Yeah, I will talk to you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching, and you are beautiful, kind, wonderful, sweet, talented, and lovely. And thank you for watching this video.